let's talk about how your eyes are wired to either have left or right eye dominance. Now, your brain is wired to either be right or left eye dominant, and each eye is controlled by the opposite hemisphere. Now, it's really important to understand this because it can help you explain why you don't like to read, or maybe your child doesn't like to read, or why reading might be hard for someone. Now, if you're right eye dominant, then you're in luck because your eye tracks the way English is written from left to right. Left eye dominant people, on the other hand, can learn to read Japanese or Hebrew easily since their eye tracks in the opposite way. They track from right to left. That's the opposite way English is written. They can read backwards and upside down. So in learning to read, left eye dominant children see, and many times write, their letters backwards. Their brain has to learn how to turn each letter so that they can read the word. Left eye dominant readers have to practice more to become fluent, fast readers. Now, I've known adults who are left eye dominant who love to read, but they usually grow up in a book-rich home and were not labeled as having a reading problem. So they could take their time with this new skill without the shame of a label. Okay, now I'm going to show you 2 ways to determine your child or your student's eye dominance. Stand or sit right in front of the person and hand a kaleidoscope to them right at the midfield. You can see that I have a little one right here. You can use one of these. Notice which hand they take, and this will give you a clue as to what hand they use, what their hand dominance is. Notice which eye they hold the kaleidoscope to. Now, if they're right-handed, left eye dominant, they might cross over to their left eye, as you see in the video, or they could switch the kaleidoscope to their left hand to hold it up to their left eye. Now, another variation to determine eye dominance is to give them a packing tube and ask them to pretend to be a pirate looking for enemy pirate ships. Have them look off in the distance and see where they're coming and where the danger is coming from. Notice which eye they hold that tube to. All right, so guess what? Do you ever see movies about pirates? And did you ever see a pirate movie and you know how they look out through their long spyglass and they have to see the other pirates? So I'm going to give this to you. All right, taking it with her left hand. All right, now hold it up to your eye so you can really see those pirates coming up on the beach. Can you put it up to one of your eyes? Now, there's another way to find eye dominance that is really good to use with adults or older children. Ask them to make a triangle with their hands, like I'm doing, and look at something off in the distance and have them close first one eye and then the other eye. The image of what you're looking at will jump to one side when you close your dominant eye because that is your leading eye, the eye that tells your brain what you're seeing. So let me use myself as an example. I'm looking off at the distance at a poster on the wall. When I close my right eye, all of a sudden I'm looking at the wall instead of the poster. That means I've closed off my leading eye, the eye that tells the brain what I'm looking at. When I close my left eye, I still see the poster. So that's how you do this method. So now you try it. All right, you ready? Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's make a triangle with our hands. Make it large enough so that you can look at, you decided to look at the light switch. So can you see the light switch keeping both of your eyes open?
Yes, ma'am.
Great. Now close your left eye. Okay, open that now. Did the picture jump?
Yes, ma'am.
You were looking at the wall instead of the light switch, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, now close your right eye. Now open it up. Anything happen?
No.
You were still looking at the light switch.
Yes, ma'am.
Guess what?
What?
You're left eye dominant because when you close off that eye, all of a sudden you're looking at the wall. You've closed off what is telling your brain that that's the light switch. Cool.
Cool.
Now, just like with your eye, your brain is wired to have a dominant right or left ear. Each ear is controlled by the opposite hemisphere. Now, determining ear dominance is really important, especially if you're a teacher or you're a parent homeschooling your child, or if you're an adult and you want to know which side of the room you need to sit on and so that you can access all the important details of the meeting. Sometimes you might see a child or a person turning their head when you're talking, and that's so that they can access their dominant ear. Now, right ear dominant people have an advantage over left ear dominant people. The right ear is more efficient for receiving and sending language sounds which directly access the main language center, because sound enters the right ear, then crosses directly over the corpus callosum, right to the language center in the left hemisphere, and does this without any delay. Left ear dominant people seem to be at a disadvantage. For them, the sounds must first travel to the sublanguage center of the right hemisphere before crossing the corpus callosum to the left side for decoding. This millisecond delay leaves the listener still processing earlier information while new information is still being given. Now I'm going to show you how to establish ear dominance. The easiest way with children is to hand them a seashell. Now I have two, a big one and a little one, so they can pick which one they like. Ask them to listen to the ocean and notice which ear they use. Again, notice which hand they take the shell with when you hand it to their midfield. This gives you another clue for their hand dominance. Another way to determine ear dominance is to get behind a person and either whisper or clap your hands and notice which ear they turn to you. Now, I've posted a very interesting paper on the website that talks more about auditory challenges the student may have. So check it out and read it. Let me know if you have questions about it. Now let's talk about getting hand dominance. Each hand is controlled by the opposite hemisphere. Usually the hand you write with is your dominant hand, unless you started off writing with your left hand and were forced to switch to your right hand. By this time you know your student's or your child's dominant hand, since you've been handing things to their midfield and watching which hand they use. Now in some cases you may find a child reaching for something with the opposite hand that they write with, as was the case of a child I worked with. He wrote right-handed but reached for things with his left hand. His mom told me that he had broken his left arm when he was young, and he had been writing with his left hand, so he had to switch to writing with his right arm. He's still left hand dominant, but he's growing up ambidextrous, since he writes with his right hand but throws balls with his left hand. Another important fact about handiness is how it affects communication. For example, right-handed, right-brained, or left-handed, left-brained people will not be able to express themselves as well as other profiles under stress. Now we'll explore how to find the dominant foot. By this time you know that each foot is controlled by the opposite hemisphere. Now it's really important to know our dominant foot so we understand how we act under stress. When the dominant foot is on the same side as the dominant hemisphere, for example, if a person is right-brained, right-footed, the person will have difficulty moving forward under stress. When stressed, they'll tend to stop in their tracks, unable to take immediate physical action. They may hold back or experience clumsiness. In contrast, a person with their dominant hemisphere opposite their dominant foot will continue to take action under stress, maybe feeling like they're running around like a chicken with its head cut off still, but they tend to plow through. Their actions may be non-productive though. Now I'll show you two ways to establish foot dominance. One is to step up on a stool or ask a child to step up on a stool and notice which foot you use. The other is to fall forwards or backwards to see which foot you catch yourself on. The foot you catch yourself on is your dominant foot. You can also ask someone to gently push you forward if you're overthinking that too much. Ask them to come up behind you and push you gently forward to see which foot you step out on.